The rescue. The mining ship, Stellar Wanderer, drifted silently through the asteroid belt of the Kepler 442 system, its hull scarred by micrometeorite impacts and years of deep space operation. Captain Zethkai of the Vilethran Republic adjusted his three eyes to focus on the scanner readings, his crystalline skin reflecting the soft blue glow of the bridge displays. Another human vessel, First Officer Nim-Ara reported, her voice carrying the typical melodic tone of her species. Dead in space, minimal life support. Zethkai's mandibles clicked in what humans might recognize as a sigh. The Vilethran Republic had been at war with the Kronak Empire for 73 cycles, and these outer rim systems had become graveyards for countless ships from dozens of species caught in the crossfire. Most crews they found were already gone, victims of battle damage or system failures in the cold void. "Any survivors?" he asked, though he expected the usual negative response. Nimara's scanner beeped softly. "One life sign, Captain. Faint, but stable. The vessel appears to be a research ship designated Terra Survey 7. The Vilethrans had encountered humans before. They were one of the newer spacefaring species, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 47 years ago, according to galactic records. Most established civilizations considered them an insignificant footnote in cosmic affairs. Their technology was primitive by galactic standards, their military weak, and their territorial holdings consisted of merely 12 star systems clustered around their homeworld, Earth. "Prepare a rescue pod," Zethkai ordered. "Even if it's just one survivor, we cannot leave them to die." The rescue operation proved more challenging than expected. The human ship had suffered massive damage to its port side, likely from Kronak plasma cannon fire. Atmospheric readings showed the vessel had been venting oxygen for days. When the rescue team finally cut through the twisted wreckage to reach the ship's emergency shelter, they found a lone human female in a damaged environmental suit. Dr. Sarah Chen had been unconscious for 18 hours when she finally awakened in the medical bay of the Stellar Wanderer. The first thing she noticed was that she could breathe normally, though the air had a slightly sweet taste. The second thing she noticed was the tall, crystalline being standing beside her bed, regarding her with three large, multifaceted eyes. "You are safe," Zethkai said in accented but clear galactic standard, the trade language most spacefaring species used for communication. "I am Captain Zethkai. This is the Vilethran Republic vessel, Stellar Wanderer." Sarah struggled to sit up, her body aching from the ordeal. "My crew, my ship. I am sorry. You were the only survivor we could locate." The words hit her like a physical blow. Dr. Martinez, who had been so excited about the xenoarchaeological sites they'd been investigating, young Ensign Park, fresh out of the academy and eager to see the galaxy, Chief Engineer Okafor, who had 3 children waiting for him back on Mars. All gone. "The Kronak attacked without warning," Sarah whispered, tears streaming down her face. "We were just scientists. We weren't even armed." Zethkai's expression grew troubled. This was unfortunately common in the war zone. The Kronak Empire had little regard for non-combatants, viewing any vessel in contested space as a potential threat. But seeing the grief of this small human female stirred something in his normally pragmatic heart. Over the following days, as the Stellar Wanderer continued its patrol route, Sarah gradually recovered her strength. The Vilethran crew treated her with surprising kindness, sharing their food replicator technology to create meals compatible with human biology and providing her with quarters previously used by a member of their species who had been similar in size. Dr. Chen proved to be intelligent and curious, asking numerous questions about Vilethran culture and technology. She shared stories of Earth and humanity's recent expansion into space, describing a species driven by exploration and discovery rather than conquest. This fascinated the Vilethrans, whose own history had been marked by centuries of careful expansion and defensive conflicts. Your people have achieved faster-than-light travel in less than a century after splitting the atom, Nimara observed during one of their conversations in the ship's observation lounge. That is remarkably fast technological development. Sarah smiled sadly. Humans have always been good at learning quickly when we need to, sometimes too good. We nearly destroyed ourselves twice before we learned to work together. And now you explore peacefully? Mostly. There are still tensions, but nothing like the old days. When we realized how vast the galaxy was and how much there was to discover, most of our conflicts seemed petty by comparison. 3 weeks into the journey, long-range communications detected a pattern of signals that made Zethkai's blood run cold. A massive Kronak battle fleet was moving through the system, heading directly for the trade routes that connected several neutral worlds to the galactic core. 57 heavy cruisers, multiple support vessels, the communications officer reported. They're not just raiding, Captain. This looks like a full invasion fleet. The Stellar Wanderer was a mining vessel with minimal armament. Against a Kronak battle fleet, they would last perhaps 30 seconds in open combat. But the trade routes they were targeting contained hundreds of civilian vessels and 3 major space stations with combined populations of over 2 million beings. Can we warn them? Sarah asked when Zethkai explained the situation. Our communications array was damaged in our last encounter with Kronak raiders, he replied grimly. We can send short-range transmissions, but nothing powerful enough to reach the trade routes before the fleet arrives. Sarah was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the stars. Then she turned to face the captain, with determination in her eyes. What about my ship? The Terra Survey 7 had a quantum entanglement communication array. It was experimental, but if it survived the attack, Zethkai's mandibles clicked in surprise. Quantum entanglement communication was theoretically possible but incredibly difficult to implement. Most species require decades of research to develop stable quantum links. Your species has achieved instantaneous galactic communication? Limited range, but yes. Dr. Martinez was the lead researcher on the project. If the array is intact, I can operate it. The decision was difficult. Returning to the debris field of the human ship would take them dangerously close to Kronak patrol routes. But the alternative was allowing millions of innocent beings to die in the coming assault. We go back, Zethkai decided. The return journey took 2 days of careful navigation through asteroid fields and sensor shadows. When they finally reached the wreckage of the Terra Survey 7, Sarah suited up and accompanied the Vielthran engineering team aboard the derelict vessel. The ship's main computers were destroyed, but the quantum entanglement array had been housed in a separate, heavily shielded compartment near the ship's core. Miraculously, it had survived the Kronak attack with only minor damage. I need to establish a link with Earth's deep space communication network, Sarah explained as she worked to restore power to the array. From there, I can route warnings to the Republic Fleet Command and the neutral trade stations. Can you reach your homeworld from here? Nimara asked, impressed despite herself. Earth maintains quantum-linked relay stations throughout human space. If I can connect to any of them, I can reach anyone. It took 6 hours of delicate work. But finally, the array hummed to life. Sarah's fingers flew over the unfamiliar controls as she established the quantum link. When the connection stabilized, she took a deep breath and opened a channel to Earth. This is Dr. Sarah Chen of the Terra Survey 7, transmitting on emergency frequency Omega 7. I am currently aboard the Valthron Republic vessel Stellar Wanderer in the Kepler 442 system. My crew is dead, killed by Kronak raiders. I repeat, this is an emergency transmission. The response came within minutes, crackling with the strain of the long-distance quantum link. Dr. Chen, this is Admiral Harrison of Earth Fleet Command. We've been searching for your ship for 3 weeks. Are you injured? What is your status? I'm unharmed, Admiral. The Vaelthrons rescued me and have treated me with great kindness, but that's not why I'm calling. There's a massive Kronak invasion fleet heading for the neutral trade routes. Hundreds of thousands of civilians are in danger. Sarah quickly relayed the tactical information Zethkai had gathered, including fleet composition, heading, and estimated arrival times. She could hear the urgency in Admiral Harrison's voice as he acknowledged the information and promised to relay it immediately to Republic Command and Neutral Zone authorities. Dr. Chen, we're dispatching a rescue ship to bring you home. Can you transmit your exact coordinates? Negative, Admiral. The Vaelthrons are still on patrol in a combat zone. I won't abandon them after they saved my life. There was a long pause before Harrison responded. Understood, Doctor. Stay safe out there. Earth Fleet Command out. 3 days later, the warnings proved accurate. The Kronak invasion fleet struck the trade routes with devastating force, but thanks to the early warning, most civilian vessels had already evacuated, and the Republic fleet had repositioned to mount an effective defense. What should have been a massacre became a costly victory for the defenders. Aboard the Stellar Wanderer, the crew celebrated the successful warning, but Zethkai noticed that Sarah seemed melancholy despite their success. You saved millions of lives today, he told her as they stood in the observation lounge, watching the stars wheel slowly past. Your people should be proud. My people don't even know what happened here, Sarah replied quietly. Earth is so far from the war zones. Most humans have never even seen an alien species, let alone understood the scope of the conflicts out here. Perhaps that is a blessing, Zethkai observed. Peace is precious. Not all species are fortunate enough to maintain it. Maybe, Sarah said, but sometimes I think we're too isolated, too focused on our own small corner of the galaxy while others suffer. She was quiet for a moment, then turned to face him directly. Captain, when this patrol is over, would you consider taking me to Earth? I think it's time my people learned about the galaxy beyond our borders. Zethkai considered this request carefully. The Vaelthron Republic had limited contact with humanity, viewing them as a minor species best left to their own devices. But this human female had shown courage, intelligence, and compassion. Perhaps there was more to humanity than the galactic community realized. The arrival. The Sol system had never seen anything quite like the Stellar Wanderer. Earth's orbital defense platforms registered the approaching vessel 3 days out from the system's edge, its crystalline hull reflecting starlight in ways that human sensors had difficulty interpreting. The ship's design was elegant yet alien, with sweeping curves and geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow as it moved through space. Admiral Jessica Harrison stood in the command center of Luna Station, studying the incoming vessel with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Earthfleet's intelligence division had provided what little information they possessed about the Vaelthron Republic, a spacefaring civilization with advanced technology, currently engaged in a defensive war against an aggressive species called the Kronak Empire. Beyond those basic facts, humanity knew almost nothing about their unexpected visitors. They're requesting permission to dock at Luna Station, Communications Officer Torres reported. The transmission is coming from Dr. Chen herself. Harrison nodded. Sarah Chen's rescue had been front-page news across all human worlds. The xenobiology researcher had become an overnight celebrity, the first human known to have lived among an alien species for an extended period. Her scientific reports during the journey to Earth had already revolutionized humanity's understanding of galactic civilization. Grant permission for docking at Bay 7, Harrison ordered, and have the diplomatic corps standing by. We're about to make first official contact with our first galactic ally. The docking procedure took nearly 2 hours as human and Vaelthron engineers worked together to adapt their incompatible docking systems. When the airlock finally sealed and atmospheric pressure equalized, a small delegation of Valthrons emerged into Luna Station's receiving bay. Captain Zethkai stepped forward first, his tall, crystalline form moving with fluid grace. His three eyes took in the human architecture with obvious interest, noting the stark geometric lines and utilitarian design that contrasted sharply with Valthron aesthetics. Behind him came First Officer Nimara and Chief Engineer Veltar, both regarding their surroundings with the cautious curiosity of professional spacers in unfamiliar territory. Dr. Sarah Chen emerged last, looking remarkably healthy despite her ordeal. She had adapted well to life aboard the Velthran ship, learning to navigate in the lower gravity and higher atmospheric pressure preferred by their species. More importantly, she had served as cultural interpreter during the journey, helping bridge the gap between human and Vaelthran ways of thinking. "Admiral Harrison," Sarah called out as she recognized the fleet commander. "Permission to come aboard?" "Granted, Dr. Chen. Welcome home." Harrison stepped forward, offering her hand in the traditional human greeting before turning to address the Valthran delegation. "Captain Zethkai, on behalf of humanity and Earth Fleet Command, I welcome you to the Sol System. We are in your debt for rescuing our citizen." Zethkai's mandibles clicked in what Sarah had learned was a sign of pleased surprise. "The debt is ours, Admiral Harrison. Dr. Chen's warning saved millions of lives in the trade routes. Her presence aboard our ship has been an honor." The formal reception that followed was carefully choreographed by Earth's diplomatic corps, but the real conversations happened later in private meetings between the species' representatives. In Admiral Harrison's office overlooking Earth's blue marble surface, the scope of galactic civilization gradually became clear to humanity's leadership. 14,000 inhabited systems, Admiral Harrison repeated, trying to process the numbers. "Over 600 spacefaring species, and we've never encountered any of them. Your home system lies in what most galactic maps classify as a sparse region," Nimara explained gently. "Few trade routes pass through this area, and your faster-than-light technology has only recently developed to the point where you could reach the more populated regions of the galaxy." Dr. Chen activated a holographic display showing the galactic arm from a Valthron perspective. "Earth is here." She pointed to a small cluster of stars far from the bright trade routes and political centers. "We're essentially in the galactic equivalent of a small island nation, just beginning to build boats capable of reaching other continents." The implications were staggering. Humanity had believed itself alone in the universe for millennia, then spent the last 50 years cautiously exploring nearby star systems, with the assumption that they were pioneers pushing into empty space. The reality was that they were late arrivals to a galaxy already filled with ancient civilizations, complex politics, and ongoing conflicts. "The Kronak Empire," Admiral Harrison said, studying the tactical displays Zethkai had provided. "How immediate is the threat to human space?" "Currently minimal," Captain Zethkai replied honestly. "Your territory is too far from their expansion routes to be of immediate strategic value. But they are aggressive and expansionist. Given time, they would eventually reach your worlds." "How much time?" "At their current rate of expansion, perhaps 50 to 70 years before they begin probing your outer systems." The number sent a chill through the human leadership. 50 years seemed like a long time, but in terms of military preparation and technological development, it was barely enough to mount an effective defense against a species that had been conquering star systems for centuries. Over the following weeks, as the Vaelthran delegation remained on Luna Station for cultural and technological exchanges, the full scope of the galaxy's political situation became clear. The Vaelthran Republic was a defensive alliance of 17 species, united primarily by their shared opposition to Kronak expansion. They possessed advanced technology and strong fleet tactics, but they were vastly outnumbered by the Empire's seemingly endless supply of ships and soldiers. "We have fought a holding action for 87 years," Zethkai explained during one of many briefing sessions. We win individual battles through superior technology and tactics, but we cannot replace our losses as quickly as they can. Each year, we lose a little more territory. Dr. Abad Chen had spent the journey from Kepler 442 studying Veilthron technology and sharing human innovations in return. Her reports painted a picture of two species that could complement each other remarkably well. Veilthron technology was sophisticated, but focused primarily on defense and efficiency. Human technology was more primitive overall, but showed remarkable innovation in areas like quantum communication, adaptive artificial intelligence, and rapid manufacturing techniques. Their quantum entanglement communication array is revolutionary, Dr. Chen reported to Earth's Scientific Council. We developed it in 40 years of research. Most species require centuries to achieve stable quantum linking. The Veilthrons are calling it impossible human innovation speed. The revelation led to intensive joint research projects. Human engineers worked alongside Veilthron scientists, combining human creativity with alien precision. The results were remarkable: improved shield generators, more efficient fusion reactors, and communication systems that could coordinate fleet actions across entire star systems in real time. But the most significant development was philosophical rather than technological. As the weeks passed, both species began to understand that they shared fundamental values: the belief that exploration was preferable to conquest, that diversity strengthened civilization, and that defensive cooperation was superior to aggressive expansion. Admiral Harrison found herself in the unusual position of planning for humanity's integration into galactic politics. Earth's leadership had originally assumed they would spend centuries slowly expanding their territory and eventually encountering other species as equals. Instead, they were being offered membership in an established defensive alliance against a threat that could potentially destroy human civilization. The Republic values what humanity could contribute, Zethkai told her during a private meeting. Your manufacturing techniques could help us replace losses more quickly. Your communication technology could revolutionize fleet coordination. But more than that, your species thinks differently than most galactic civilizations. You solve problems in ways that surprise us. What do you mean? Dr. Chen saved millions of lives by improvising with damaged equipment and taking personal risks that most spacefaring species would consider unacceptable. When we showed her our shield generator designs, she suggested modifications that our engineers had never considered because they violated traditional safety protocols. Her ideas worked. Harrison considered this. You're saying humans are useful because we're reckless? I am saying humans are valuable because you combine advanced intelligence with willingness to take calculated risks. In warfare, this is tremendously important. The proposal came formally 3 weeks after the Stellar Wanderer's arrival. The Veilthron Republic offered humanity associate membership in their alliance, with full technological sharing, mutual defense agreements, and coordinated military planning. In exchange, Earth would contribute manufacturing capacity, technological innovation, and fleet support to the ongoing war against the Kronak Empire. The debate in Earth's Global Assembly was intense. Some representatives argued that humanity should remain neutral, developing their technology and military slowly while avoiding galactic conflicts. Others pointed out that the Kronak Empire's expansion would eventually reach human space regardless of neutrality, and that allied cooperation offered better survival odds than isolated defense. Dr. Chen addressed the assembly directly via quantum link from Luna Station, with Captain Zethkai translating her words into several galactic languages for broadcast to Republic worlds. For 50 years, we've dreamed of finding intelligent life among the stars, she said. Now we've found it, and we have a choice. We can remain isolated, pretending that galactic civilization doesn't affect us, or we can take our place among the community of spacefaring species. The Veilthrons didn't just rescue one human. They offered us friendship, knowledge, and the chance to help defend everything we both value. The vote was closer than expected. 847 in favor of alliance membership, 623 opposed, with 112 abstentions. But it was enough. Humanity officially joined the Veilthran Republic as an associate member, with plans for full membership once Earth's military and technological integration reached established standards. The celebration aboard Luna Station was unlike anything the facility had ever hosted. Veilthran crystalline forms moved gracefully through crowds of humans, sharing cultural exchanges and discussing technical specifications with equal enthusiasm. The party lasted 3 days, with representatives from both species working together to plan humanity's integration into galactic civilization. But the real celebration was quieter and more personal. In the observation lounge overlooking Earth's surface, Dr. Sarah Chen stood beside Captain Zethkai, watching the planet turn slowly in the starlight. "I never imagined, when your ship found me drifting in that wreckage, that it would lead to this," she said quietly. "Nor did I," Zethkai replied. "We thought we were simply rescuing one lost soul. Instead, we found a species that could change the balance of power in our galaxy. Do you really think we can make a difference against the Kronak Empire? I believe your species has capabilities that most galactic civilizations have forgotten. You adapt quickly, innovate constantly, and take risks that others would avoid. In a defensive war, these traits are invaluable." Sarah nodded, then smiled. "Well, I suppose Earth is about to get a very rapid education in galactic politics." "Indeed, and the galaxy is about to learn what humans are capable of when they set their minds to helping their friends." As the stellar Wanderer prepared for its return journey to Republic space, now accompanied by the first human diplomatic mission to the galactic community. Neither species could have imagined how profoundly this first contact would reshape the ongoing war. The rescue of one human scientist had opened a door between civilizations, and what came through that door would surprise everyone involved. The fleet. 6 months after humanity's formal entry into the Veilthran Republic, the galaxy watched in amazement as Earth's response exceeded every prediction. The humans hadn't just sent diplomatic missions and technical advisors, they had mobilized their entire civilization for war. Admiral Chen Mei-Lin, Sarah's younger sister and the youngest fleet commander in Earth's history, stood on the bridge of the UES Determination, flagship of humanity's first expeditionary fleet. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of 847 human vessels, ranging from massive battleships to nimble destroyer escorts. It was the largest fleet humanity had ever assembled, and it was heading directly for the Kronak Empire's newest offensive. The transformation had been breathtaking in its speed and scope. Earth's industrial capacity, designed for rapid expansion across 12 star systems, had been retooled for military production in record time. Human innovation, combined with Veilthran technology, had produced ship designs that impressed even the Republic's most experienced naval architects. "Quantum communication link established with Republic Command," her communications officer reported. "Admiral Talvor is ready for the briefing." The holographic image of Admiral Talvor, Supreme Commander of the Veilthran Republic Fleet, materialized above the bridge's central display. The elderly Veilthran's crystalline features showed the strain of commanding a defensive war for over 2 decades. But his 3 eyes gleamed with anticipation as he studied the human fleet formations. "Admiral Chen, your fleet's arrival is most welcome. The Kronak offensive has broken through our defensive lines at Epsilon Centauri. They are advancing toward the HFY system with over 200 heavy cruisers." Chen studied the tactical display, her mind racing through possibilities. The HFY system contained 3 inhabited worlds with a combined population of 47 million beings from 6 different species. If it fell, the Kronak would have a staging point for attacks on the Republic's core worlds. "What forces do you have available for a counterattack?" she asked. 63 capital ships, perhaps 90 with support vessels. The Kronak have numerical superiority, but their advance has stretched their supply lines. If we can strike quickly— "Admiral," Chen interrupted gently, "you're thinking like this is another holding action. We didn't come here to slow down the Kronak. We came here to stop them." The human fleet had brought more than ships. They had brought a fundamentally different approach to warfare. Where the Republic had spent decades fighting defensively, trying to minimize losses while gradually wearing down the enemy, humanity brought the aggressive tactics of a species that had survived 2 world wars and countless smaller conflicts. "Fleet dispersion pattern 7, Chen ordered. "All ships, prepare for multi-vector assault." What followed was unlike any space battle the galaxy had ever witnessed. Instead of the traditional approach of massing ships for concentrated firepower, the human fleet dispersed into 17 separate task forces, each operating independently but coordinated through humanity's quantum entanglement communication network. The Kronak fleet, advancing in typical formation toward the HFY system, suddenly found themselves under attack from multiple directions simultaneously. Human ships appeared from seemingly impossible angles, striking with precision and withdrawing before the enemy could respond effectively. "Their tactics are madness," Admiral Talvor observed, watching the battle unfold from his command ship. "No species fights like this." "Humans do," replied Captain Zeth Kai, who had been assigned as liaison officer to the Republic command ship. "They call it controlled chaos. Individual commanders are given broad objectives and allowed to achieve them using their own initiative." The result was devastating to Kronak morale. Their ships were designed for direct confrontation, overwhelming enemy forces through superior numbers and firepower. They had never faced an opponent that refused to engage on those terms, instead striking from unexpected directions and disappearing before retaliation was possible. But the real surprise came when the Kronak fleet attempted to retreat. Human ships didn't just harass the withdrawal, they pursued aggressively, turning what should have been an orderly retreat into a chaotic rout. By the time the engagement ended, the Kronak had lost over 60% of their fleet, while human casualties were minimal. "This changes everything," Admiral Talvor said quietly as the final battle reports arrived. "In 87 years of warfare, we have never achieved anything approaching this level of victory." The news of the HFY battle spread through galactic civilization like wildfire. Humanity, the newest species to achieve faster-than-light travel, had decisively defeated a Kronak fleet that had seemed unstoppable. More importantly, they had done it with tactics that other species had never considered. The psychological impact on the Kronak Empire was immediate. For centuries, they had expanded through the galaxy with the confidence that their superior numbers and proven tactics would overwhelm any opposition. The defeat at HFY shattered that confidence, forcing them to reconsider their entire approach to warfare. "The humans fight without honor," Kronak Admiral Vextar reported to his superiors. "They strike from concealment and flee rather than face us in open battle." "And yet they defeated you," replied War Leader Goktor, Supreme Commander of the Kronak military. "Perhaps we have become too accustomed to enemies who fight as we expect them to fight." The Empire's response was swift and overwhelming. 3 separate fleets, totaling over 800 ships, converged on human positions with orders to destroy this new threat before it could spread its innovative tactics to other Republic species. But humanity had anticipated this response. Admiral Chen had spent the weeks following the HFY victory working with Republic strategists to plan for exactly this scenario. When the Kronak counterattack came, they found not isolated human ships, but a fully integrated Republic fleet using combined human tactics and Valthran technology. The Battle of the Rigel Nebula lasted 4 days and involved over 2,000 ships from both sides. It was the largest space engagement in galactic history, and its outcome would determine whether the Kronak Empire's expansion could finally be stopped. Dr. Sarah Chen, now serving as scientific advisor to the Joint Fleet, watched the battle unfold from the bridge of a Vilethron research vessel. The past months had transformed her from a xenoarchaeologist studying ancient ruins to a strategic analyst helping plan the largest military operation in human history. Phase 1 complete, Admiral Talvor reported. Human strike forces have disrupted their forward scouts. Phase 2 commencing, Admiral Chen added from her flagship. All Republic forces, execute Maneuver Tango 7. What followed was a masterpiece of cooperative warfare. Human ships used their mobility and innovative tactics to confuse and harass the Kronak fleet, while Vilethron vessels provided the heavy firepower and defensive screens necessary to hold strategic positions. Other Republic species contributed their own specialties: Zalathi sensor technology for intelligence gathering, Mordak engineering expertise for rapid repairs, and Hevari fighters for close-range combat. The turning point came when human engineers working with Vilethron technicians managed to disrupt the Kronak fleet's communication network using a modified version of humanity's quantum entanglement technology. Suddenly, the Empire's carefully coordinated attack dissolved into isolated ship actions, with individual captains unable to coordinate with their fleet command. "Their formation is collapsing," reported the sensor officer aboard the Determination. "Multiple ships are attempting to withdraw without orders." Admiral Chen saw the opportunity and seized it immediately. "All human ships, execute Hunter Protocol. Don't let them regroup." The Hunter Protocol was purely human doctrine, developed from humanity's experience hunting submarines during their world wars. Instead of allowing the enemy to retreat and regroup, human ships pursued individual Kronak vessels relentlessly, preventing them from forming defensive formations or coordinating counterattacks. The battle ended not with a single decisive moment, but with the gradual disintegration of the Kronak fleet as more and more ships either surrendered or fled the field. When the final tally was completed, the Empire had lost over 70% of its forces, while the Republic coalition suffered less than 15% casualties. More importantly, the captured Kronak ships contained intelligence that revealed the Empire's entire strategic position. Star charts showed supply routes, communication networks displayed command structures, and personal logs revealed the growing dissent within Kronak leadership as their inevitable expansion suddenly seemed very stoppable. "This is the beginning of the end," Admiral Talvor declared during the victory conference aboard the Stellar Wanderer. "For the first time in our species' history, we have the initiative against the Empire." But humanity wasn't finished. The victory at Rigel had demonstrated what human tactics could achieve when combined with Republic technology and coordination. Earth's response was to expand that success on an unprecedented scale. "Operation Galactic Freedom," Admiral Harrison announced during a quantum-linked conference that included representatives from all Republic worlds. "Humanity is prepared to commit our entire fleet capacity to ending the Kronak threat permanently." The numbers were staggering. Earth's 12 systems had retooled their entire industrial base for military production. Shipyards that had previously built colony vessels and research ships were now producing warships at a rate that amazed even the Republic's most optimistic planners. 2,000 ships within 8 months, reported Earth's Director of Military Production. "Our manufacturing techniques allow for rapid construction when materials are available, and the Republic has provided access to resource systems we never knew existed." The plan was audacious even by human standards. Instead of continuing the traditional approach of defensive warfare, the combined Republic human fleet would launch simultaneous attacks on 17 key Kronak systems, disrupting their entire command structure and forcing them to defend territory they had considered secure. You propose to attack the Empire's core worlds, observed Valthran strategic advisor Nim'ara, now promoted to Republic High Command. No species has attempted such an operation in galactic history. No species has had quantum entanglement communication for real-time coordination across multiple star systems, Admiral Chen replied. We can coordinate attacks across 50 light-years as if they were happening in the same solar system. The final planning session took place aboard Luna Station, with representatives from all Republic species participating in person or via quantum link. The assembled fleet was the largest in galactic history, over 3,000 ships from 23 species, unified by human communication technology and human tactical doctrine, but enhanced by the best technology each species could contribute. Dr. Sarah Chen addressed the assembly as the operation's chief scientific advisor, reflecting on how her rescue from the wreckage of the Terra Survey 7 had led to this moment. 1 year ago, I was a xenoarchaeologist studying ancient ruins in empty systems. Today, I'm helping plan an operation that will reshape galactic civilization. This transformation happened because one Valthran captain chose to rescue a single human and because both our species chose to trust each other with our hopes for the future. She paused, looking out at the assembled representatives of dozens of species, all united in common cause. The Kronak Empire has spent centuries conquering and enslaving other species because they believed that might makes right, that superior numbers guarantee victory. They never imagined that cooperation could be stronger than conquest, that diversity could be more powerful than uniformity. Today, we prove them wrong. When Operation Galactic Freedom launched 3 weeks later, it exceeded every expectation. The coordinated attacks on 17 Kronak systems, executed simultaneously across hundreds of light-years, shattered the Empire's command structure and demonstrated that their expansion had finally met an immovable barrier. The war wasn't over, but for the first time in galactic history, the Kronak Empire was retreating. And at the center of that retreat was humanity, the species that had entered galactic civilization as refugees from a single damaged research ship and had responded to one act of kindness by committing their entire civilization to defending freedom among the stars. Captain Zethkai, now promoted to Republic Fleet Command, stood beside Admiral Chen on the bridge of the Determination as the Liberation fleets returned to Republic space. Around them, the combined fleet represented the largest peaceful cooperation in galactic history. Your species has given us something we had forgotten, he told her as they watched the fleet formations wheeling through space in perfect coordination. Hope. For 87 years we fought to survive. Now for the first time we fight to win. Admiral Chen smiled, thinking of her sister Sarah and the chain of events that had led to this moment. Captain, humanity learned a long time ago that the best way to thank someone for saving your life is to make sure their sacrifice wasn't wasted. You saved one human. We intend to save the galaxy. As the fleet set course for Republic space, carrying news of humanity's gift to galactic civilization, the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter with the promise of a future where cooperation triumphed over conquest, and where the rescue of a single life could change the fate of billions. It would be an honor, Dr. Chen, he finally replied. Perhaps it is time for our peoples to know each other better. As the Stellar Wanderer continued its patrol through the contested regions of space, Sarah worked alongside the Valthran crew, learning their technology and sharing human innovations in return. She proved particularly adept at improving their sensor arrays, applying human quantum theory to enhance their detection capabilities. But more importantly, she served as a bridge between species, helping the Valthrans understand that humanity might be more than just another primitive species struggling to survive in a hostile galaxy. Her presence aboard the ship became a symbol of what cooperation between species could achieve. When the patrol finally ended 6 weeks later, Captain Zethkai set course for Earth, carrying with him not just a rescued human, but the beginning of what might become a lasting alliance between their peoples.